Part 12. Allie is emotionally drained and directionless as she drifts through the desert, riding in the back seat of a borrowed car with nothing but static-filled gospel radio to keep her company. She's not running anymore. She's simply moving, leaving pieces of her past behind, with no plan, no map, and no more so-called safe houses, which have always turned out to be disguised prisons. In the middle of this empty stretch of Route 93, she notices a small, weathered sign. New Grace Sanctuary, all are welcome, with an unsettling handwritten addition beneath it, no questions, only healing. The phrase feels like a warning, but the silent desert offers no alternatives. Against her instincts, she follows the path into a gated compound. The gates open as if waiting for her. No guards, no buzzers, and inside looks like a pastoral oasis. A white chapel, blooming roses, and a woman named Sister Joy, who greets her with a smile so controlled it feels performative. From the moment Allie steps inside, she senses an eerie perfection. The floor is too polished, the air too quiet, the whole place feeling more like a movie set than a living sanctuary. The first real warning comes fast. They take her phone. No discussion. Sister Joy calls it a faith-based detox, but Allie recognizes the tactic, cutting her off from the outside world, making her disappear once again. She's assigned to a 6-bed dorm, each spot labeled only with initials. Her bed reads AC. Even though she never gave her initials to anyone, somehow they already knew. As Allie settles in, she scans the room and spots a nearly hidden camera in the corner. She whispered to herself that this is no sanctuary, it's a script. But trauma doesn't always trigger escape. Sometimes it forces compliance. So Allie decides to stay quiet, stay observant, and stay strategic. Soon she notices more red flags. The entire sanctuary runs on a rigid, laminated schedule. Devotion breakfast, chores, group, reflection, quiet hour, scripture study, dinner, evening service, lights out. Not a single block for free time, emotional processing, self-expression, or even private conversation. Everything is timed, regulated, and supervised. Her suspicion deepens when she finds another hidden camera, this time embedded in the dorm's mirror frame, blinking softly like an eye behind glass eyes. If the mirrors are bugged, the rest of the sanctuary is likely crawling with surveillance. But the most disturbing ritual happens every night. During evening service, the girls stand on the chapel stage one by one and recite confessions that feel scripted. I struggle with control. I question God's plan. I disrespected the sisterhood. Then they kneel and repeat, I surrender my past to be rewritten by love. To Allie, it's not prayer, it's psychological rewriting, a forced erasure of identity disguised as devotion. Deciding to understand the place better, Allie studies it like a soldier behind enemy lines. She maps out the corridor lengths, counts cameras, watches which doors get locked after sundown, and memorizes staff patterns. Her patience pays off. One night during quiet hour, she sneaks into the chapel alone. Without the crowd, the room feels colder, more artificial, like the warmth only appears when staff want it to. Behind the pulpit, Allie discovers a panel in the wall, a hidden door. No handle, just a keypad. The sanctuary stage isn't just a place for worship. It's hiding something the staff doesn't want anyone to find. Walking back to bed, Allie realizes the truth. This place wasn't built to heal broken girls. It was built to control what they remember and what they forget. A place designed to rewrite lives, erase identities, and silence anyone who tries to speak out once they escape. Allie knows she's stepped into another storm, one wearing a cross and calling itself salvation.
Do you know how many people have contacted them and said, hey, Did you know about this? You don't even have to worry about Allie Carter. Fine, don't listen to her. But are you going to speak on the children? And I'm not just talking about when it's trending. I'm not just talking about when you view it to be okay. I'm not just talking about when it comes up on your timeline that you need to now post on it because everybody else is talking about it. I'm saying, are you going to stay on the children and talk about the truth?
At New Grace Sanctuary, there's a forbidden part of the building no one talks about. The West Wing, a short 30-foot hallway ending in a thick metal door. No windows, no explanations. Everyone avoids it, and questions about it disappear into silence. One night during chapel, Ali sees a strange girl standing quietly at the edge of the room, pale, thin, wearing a beige hospital gown instead of the sanctuary robes. No one else acknowledges her. When Ali looks again, the girl is just gone, as if she was never there. Curious, Ali asks a new staff member, Sister May, who stiffens and warns her never to mention that girl. According to her, the girl came back wrong after being taken to the West Wing for trying to run. Now she doesn't speak, she only watches. The comment hits Ali hard. It's clear something in that wing isn't spiritual. It's psychological, maybe even medical. A few nights later, at 2 a.m., Ali sees staff dragging the same girl outside toward the West Wing. Her head slumped, feet dragging, gown fluttering. That's when Ali realizes the truth. Whatever's behind that metal door doesn't heal girls. It breaks them. Determined to find answers, Ali starts playing along, pretending to submit to the sanctuary's routines so the staff stops watching her. She waits for the weekly community audit when all the girls are locked in chapel while staff review their secret records. She fakes a sickness, distracts the new staffer watching her, and slips into the office wing. There she finds a thick, newly added file marked VSP, Do Not Move to System Database. Inside are medical charts, treatment schedules, and disturbing documents for something called the Voluntary Silence Program, a psychological conditioning process disguised as religious therapy. It includes terms like stillness immersion, mirror reconditioning, and language removal blocks. Even worse, one page lists subject AC. That's her. Ali realizes the sanctuary isn't a faith center. It's a psychological experiment designed to erase identity and rebuild obedience. The next morning, Ali stops pretending. She walks straight up to Sister Joy and drops the incriminating paper in front of her. Joy's fake smile cracks instantly. She tries to gaslight Ali, insisting her mind is inventing threats. But Ali refuses to back down. Joy finally snaps and admits the truth. The sanctuary doesn't choose the girls. They get sent there, dumped, forgotten. The people who should protect these kids, parents, judges, county officials, are the ones feeding them into the system. Exposing the sanctuary means exposing everyone who enables it. Staff arrive to take Ali to observation, but she doesn't fight. She already got what she came for. The mask is off. She knows exactly what kind of monster she's dealing with. And now, she knows where to strike. The Nameless Girl and the Scratched Truth. Ali is thrown into the observation dorm, a cold, padded isolation room disguised as therapy. There's no bed, no window, just white walls and a blinking red light overhead. But she isn't alone. There's a thin, fragile girl curled in the corner, rocking silently. The girl doesn't react when Ali enters, only whispers a warning. Don't answer when they knock. Ali studies her. She's young, dressed in the same beige hospital gown as the silent girl from the chapel. After a moment, the girl softly says she remembers Ali, not her name, but her defiance. She explains that the staff tried to convince her she was someone else, and over time, she forgot her real name. She thinks she used to be called Kelsey. Kelsey points Ali to the back wall. Hidden beneath layers of scrub padding is a message carved deeply into the material. If you're reading this, they haven't erased you yet. Below it are dozens of initials and faded names, proof of the girls who were held there before. In the corner, faint but unmistakable, Ali finds her own mark. AC, don't let 'em make you forget. The discovery hits her hard. She has been here before, locked up, fighting to remember herself. Her past self left that message as a warning and a promise. Now she realizes she's picking up where she previously left off, continuing the battle against the Sanctuary's erasure program. Kelsey then reveals she's only ever been taken out of the room once, into a chamber with a chair and bright lights. She wasn't physically hurt, but they left her under the lights for 3 days, telling her that silence would heal her. The implication is clear. The place is breaking girls through sensory deprivation and psychological torture. Instead of crying or panicking, Allie begins searching the room inch by inch. Her determination returns stronger than ever. Eventually, she discovers a small panel, a maintenance hatch hidden in the corner, one that could possibly lead out. Kelsey is scared. She doesn't know what identity she has left. She worries she won't know who she'll be once she's free. But Allie kneels beside her and says, "Then we'll figure it out together." But we ain't dying in silence. With that, a spark of hope returns between them. The escape, the resistance, begins right there in that padded room. After escaping into the hidden panel of the observation dorm, Allie spends the night piecing together all the disturbing fragments she has uncovered about New Grace Sanctuary. The West Wing, the fake voluntary silence program, the erased identities, and most of all, the so-called doctor she had only glimpsed once during intake. He never felt like a real physician. No name tag, no credentials, just quiet watching and scribbling as if he already knew her history. Then a memory clicks. Allie recognizes his name from a computer she used in her old group home. Dr. Raymond Vance, a child development specialist whose medical license was revoked for experimenting on minors. One girl ended up hospitalized, another disappeared. Now he's here, reborn under a church disguise, running the same experiments under a new name. Kelsey, the traumatized girl sharing the isolation room, confirms it. She remembers Vance sitting silently in the chapel balcony, watching them without blinking, leaving before prayer ended. He once told her she had a chaotic aura that needed silence, a disturbingly clinical phrase masquerading as spiritual advice. Allie realizes the sanctuary isn't built on religion at all. It's built on psychological profiling and exploitation. Girls labeled troubled or unreliable are funneled here because nobody will question their disappearance. Determined, Allie decides they must escape through the loose wall panel she found. Kelsey is terrified she no longer knows her name or identity, but Allie promises they'll rebuild themselves together. Anything is better than dying in forced silence. The next morning, the sanctuary feels wrong. Staff moves slower, Joy is missing, and the doctor's nowhere to be found. Allie senses a shift and decides to investigate the chapel, the one place where the sanctuary pretends to be holy. During meditation, she slips away and finds a trap door hidden under a rug behind the altar. Below the chapel lies a chilling secret. A basement filled not with religious artifacts, but boxes of government-sealed files, medical notes, psychological reports, and confiscated histories of dozens of girls, including hers. None of them are labeled with church names. These are documents from shut-down clinics, child protective custody facilities, and behavioral programs that no longer legally exist. She finds her own file, Patient AC, prior placement, child protective custody, ward number 12B. Her entire life has been archived, edited, and repurposed for experimentation. Then she discovers audio tapes. On them, the staff discuss behavioral resets, erasure sequences, and protocols meant to strip girls of their identity and rebuild them into compliant versions of themselves. One tape specifically orders that Allie be cut off from all outside contact because she was resisting memory manipulation. As Allie documents everything with her phone, she hears footsteps and the cold, steady voice of Dr. Vance descending the stairs. He approaches her, calm and confident, telling her that she wasn't meant to see this. He claims the state doesn't care about girls like them, that this program is order, not abuse. He holds her file as if it's scripture and reads her personality traits like a diagnosis, insisting she is reactive and unstable. But Ali isn't intimidated. She reveals that she has been recording the entire confrontation, possibly live streaming it. His facade cracks. Suddenly he's nervous, scrambling, insisting nobody will believe a girl labeled mentally unstable. Ali fires back. If she's so unbelievable, why is he panicking? When he tries to destroy her files, she fights back, knocking him into the crates and spilling the evidence everywhere. Dozens of files scatter, a map of all the stolen girls and the years of silenced suffering this place has buried. Ali lights a stolen lighter, threatening to burn everything if she has to. If she can't escape, the truth will. The doctor finally freezes. The illusion of control breaks. And then, from above the basement, alarms blare, a sign that someone somewhere finally heard her. Maybe the world won't ignore her voice after all.
All this, people are exposing me. Well, they're exposing themselves. They're really exposing themselves, because why are you so angry over something that, where's your proof? Everybody keeps asking for proof from these people who are posting all of this shit about me right now, but their answer is silence.
Ali doesn't hesitate. She throws a lighter into a crate of hidden files, setting the entire basement ablaze. Dry documents, cloth, and dust erupt instantly, filling the place with smoke as she grabs crucial folders, including those on Kay Hawkins and Project Eden. Despite the smoke, she moves like she's beyond fear, dragging her body out with pure spirit. Kelsey meets her at the top, horrified, but they both sprint through the building as alarms scream. Girls flee in panic, but also freedom, while staff shout and try to regain control. Sister Joy claims it's the Lord's house, and Ali fires back that no real church has a basement full of secrets and no Bibles. The building erupts into chaos just as unmarked SUVs arrive outside. 3 female agents step out with badges. They call for Ali, and she raises her stolen files like a victory flag. They've been searching for her ever since her live stream went viral. As flames reach the chapel windows behind her, Ali is escorted away, whispering to the burning building, "Now tell me I made it up." The agents take Ali and Kelsey to a secure facility. Agent Monroe from Homeland Security explains they've been tracking the center for nearly a year, but needed a whistleblower. Ali's stream finally broke the case open. Inside the facility, they reveal a map of the U.S. dotted with other youth restoration centers, showing this was just one site in a nationwide network funded by nonprofits, religious grants, and even redirected federal money. Monroe drops the bomb. The operation has major political protection. One key name is Congressman Alan Pierce, the biggest donor with legal immunity. The so-called doctor was actually Richard Vaughn, a disgraced clinician who reinvented himself under religious cover after previous charges were buried. Ali realizes the truth. Everyone powerful knew, but looked away. She asks how many girls are still out there. The answer is grim. Too many. Monroe prepares a recorder and asks if Ali is ready to testify. With steel in her voice, Ali insists the cameras stay on this time. Her testimony becomes explosive. For 2 hours, she details everything. The behavioral testing, the psychological manipulation disguised as faith, the silence rooms, the scripted sermons meant to reprogram them, and the notes documenting what triggers broken children. She holds up the folders she saved as proof that it was research, not healing, experiments funded by politicians and hidden behind religion. The next day, the testimony leaks to the media. Hashtags ignite across every social platform as the story spreads nationwide. Politicians deny, churches panic, but the public listens. Because Ali doesn't sound like a victim. She sounds like someone who turned her trauma into ammunition. Monroe returns, warning that powerful people are trying to portray her as unstable. Ali refuses to be silenced. She's ready to release more evidence, recordings, blueprints, names, everything she has. Kelsey, emotional but proud, realizes the truth. Allie Carter isn't just one girl anymore. She's a movement. 2 days after Allie's testimony went public, her name exploded across every platform, local news, national outlets, and millions of TikTok edits. People framed her as the girl who exposed a government-backed cult and survived. Agent Monroe informed her that major networks wanted interviews, even primetime national coverage. Allie hesitated, afraid the media would twist her words, but Kelsey urged her to take control of the narrative. Just before she agreed, a tired, weather-beaten man entered the room. Her Uncle Ron. He had been searching for her ever since she was taken, filing every document and visiting every office. Her viral live stream had been the first proof he wasn't crazy for believing something terrible happened. But he warned her. The people she exposed had deep pockets and no mercy. They bury stories like hers and destroy anyone who speaks too loudly. He gave her a folder full of old photos documenting decades of similar youth programs, places that looked innocent on the surface but hid chains and abuse behind their walls. Allie realized this wasn't new, and the silence around it wasn't accidental. Her resolve hardened. If they'd made examples of other whistleblowers, she was ready to make an example of them instead. Soon after, Allie sat under bright studio lights for a major network interview. The host was polished and experienced, used to controlling conversations. But Allie wasn't intimidated. When he subtly implied she might be mentally unstable or delusional, she cut through the gaslighting by removing her mic and confronting the network live. She held up her evidence and called out the double standards that protect powerful abusers while dismissing survivors. The host panicked and cut to commercial, but the moment was already viral. Social media erupted with support, praising how she flipped the narrative and exposed the media's manipulation. The network tried to spin her as emotional or aggressive, but the public recognized her as someone speaking truth without fear. Allie laughed it off later, saying she didn't attack the host. She just forced him to see himself. As momentum grew, Allie's phone became flooded with messages from survivors, parents, former workers, and people who had long been scared to speak. They all confirmed the same horrors she described. But with the support came danger. Unmarked cars lingered outside her motel. Strangers followed her, and dark vans appeared repeatedly. Monroe moved her to a safe house with no internet, but her influence didn't fade. Her story kept resurfacing through activists, journalists, and regular people who refused to let it die. Murals were painted of her, protests used her name as a rallying cry, and hashtags demanding justice trended nationwide. One clip from her live stream reached 8 million views on its own. Someone remixed her words into a powerful anthem. They took my silence. I turned it into a siren. That was when she understood she didn't need the old platforms anymore. She had become the message, the symbol, the megaphone. Despite warning, she called Monroe and insisted she return to the field. She wasn't running or hiding, she was documenting. With only a burner phone, she traveled to youth shelters and spoke with former residents, gathering testimony piece by piece. She posted anonymized clips, each one revealing a larger pattern and ending with the same message. Survivors weren't rare, they were erased. Every attempt to silence her only amplified her voice. Every threat became fuel. Allie Carter wasn't just surviving anymore. She was building a movement they couldn't erase.
Do you not think that these pimps are so powerful? Everybody told Cassie, just walk away from Sean Combs. Ask him where the victims are. How about that? How about you ask Sean Combs and the rest of his family, where the hell are all those victims that went to those parties? Cassie wasn't the only one. You really think it was just one?
The next phase of Allie's fight began with a mysterious message on her burner phone. No name, no sender, just a warning. You woke up more than victims. You woke up watchers. Attached was an encrypted link. Though it could have been a trap, Allie opened it anyway. What she found was a massive archive, over 90,000 CPS case files spanning more than a decade, all buried away from the public. These weren't just documents, they were proof of a system built on secrecy. There were psychological evaluations, hidden disciplinary reports, judges' orders written in pencil, and therapist notes marked, "Do not share." Even more chilling were the video clips, including one of Tori, the girl whose disappearance had haunted Allie for years. Not only had Tori never been adopted, she had never left the facility. The files revealed that she and others like her had been studied, restrained, and used as leverage in a larger program. But the scariest discovery was a blueprint titled Phase 3, Influencer Recruitment and Digital Behavior Mapping. It mapped out how certain traumatized girls were being monitored online, shaped into survival influencers, and manipulated for public perception. The plan aimed to create controlled rebellion, voices that looked authentic but were still guided by the system that broke them. It proved that Eden and its connected programs weren't simply abusive, they were strategic, grooming girls emotionally and digitally. Allie called Agent Monroe, demanding higher federal involvement, but Monroe admitted the truth. Exposing the system would collapse entire state contracts and implicate judges, governors, and agencies across the country. Instead of staying silent, Allie took action. She uploaded a blurred clip of The White Room, narrating the abuse in her own powerful voice. It spread across the internet within days, the public reacting harder than the media ever dared to. The fallout hit fast. One of the most influential figures linked to the Eden Network was Judge Ronald Mercer, a long-respected juvenile court judge. After the leak, he abruptly resigned, claiming personal matters. But during his press announcement, an unexpected voice confronted him. Angel, a girl Allie thought had vanished years earlier. Angel publicly exposed Mercer as the judge who signed the orders that sent hundreds of girls, including herself, to Eden. She spoke about isolation, sedation, and the lies he fed to parents. When she produced paperwork proving his involvement, Mercer fled the microphones without answering. The clip of Angel's confrontation went viral, just like Allie's testimony. Angel's spoke became a rallying cry, and Allie, watching from her safe house, broke down in tears. One of them had survived long enough to tell the world. Then came the final blow. A folder from a hacktivist titled Project Celestial. Inside were documents showing how former Eden girls had been moved into entertainment pipelines. Music, modeling, acting, often with forged guardianship papers and predatory contracts. Some had become stars. One was a former Eden girl named Chloe Jew, now a global pop icon. The files exposed networks of agents, producers, and celebrities who funded or promoted programs like Eden in exchange for access to vulnerable minors, NDAs, flight logs, secret retreats, and night therapy events painted a picture of organized exploitation disguised as opportunity. The most disturbing part was a video of Allie's own mother talking to a man in a suit. They discussed footage from 2021, evidence that could be used to silence Allie permanently if she didn't fall in line. Monroe warned Allie not to release any of it. These weren't just corrupt officials. These were icons and corporations with endless money and influence. Taking them down meant challenging an entire industry. But Allie refused to back off. She posted a video exposing Project Celestial, urging fans to question how some young celebrities got their start and who benefited from their silence. The internet detonated. Celebrities shut off comments. Former child stars hinted at hidden truths. Contracts and old interviews resurfaced. The movement had outgrown Eden. Now it was about the machine that globalized exploitation, repackaged trauma, and marketed abused children as talent. Allie Carter wasn't just a survivor, she was the face of a nationwide reckoning, a storm no system could ignore. The live broadcast from Eden's Gates, June 29th. No promo, no warning, no editing, just raw truth. Ali Carter's account suddenly goes live, and the world freezes. The shaky frame shows a rusted chain-link fence, the same one that once trapped her on the inside. But this time, she's not trembling, not hiding, not a patient. She's the one holding the story now. Kelsey films while whispering updates, hundreds of thousands joining, comments exploding, shockwaves spreading. Ali stands in the tall grass, illuminated by Kelsey's flashlight, breathing like she's about to break a curse. "This is where they tried to erase us," she says. "And now, this is where we take it back." She walks viewers through the decaying facility like a tour guide of trauma. The quiet room where sedation gas was pumped in through vents. The no-camera hallway where girls vanished into nighttime transfers. The office where staff told parents and CPS she was improving while she forgot her own identity. The audience climbs past 500,000, then louder sirens, getting closer. Ali doesn't run. She faces the camera head on. "You see me now, right? You hear me?" She walks to the cracked EDEN sign, lifts a crowbar, and swings. Metal snaps. Dust rises. Grass shakes. That's for Tori. That's for Angel. That's for every girl nobody listened to. Just as the red and blue lights flare in the distance, the stream glitches and cuts. No outro, no explanation. But the internet detonates within minutes. Shakum Alaliv hits over 1 million posts. TikTok explodes with duets and breakdowns. News anchors scramble for statements. Survivors post their own stories. Crowds gather outside Eden by morning. Police claim she was detained. But insiders know that's a lie. Ali had already switched safe houses before they even typed the press release. A week later, the state shuts Eden down. Investigations open across all sister facilities. But Ali, she isn't celebrating, she's plotting the next expose, betrayal, bribes, and breakdowns. The live stream didn't just expose Eden, it humiliated every institution that kept Eden alive. And now they were striking back. First came the legal threats, fast, technical, and vicious. Defamation of a licensed therapeutic facility. Unauthorized release of confidential medical records. Evidence of mental instability requiring involuntary evaluation. That one wasn't subtle. They were trying to have her committed. Silenced by diagnosis instead of truth. Kelsey goes ballistic, but Ali recognizes the tactic. They do this to every woman who refuses to go quiet. She says, "Label you unstable. Write off your story." Then the internet hit her with a different kind of attack. A famous YouTuber she once supported releases a 2-hour smear documentary, painting her as manipulative, delusional, clout-hungry. They splice old footage of her trauma responses with psychiatric commentary and an interview from a blurred Eden staffer claiming Ali had emotional issues. It's the classic narrative reversal. Victim turns suspect. Kelsey is devastated. Ali isn't. They're scared. That's why they're loud. But then came the real betrayal. Agent Monroe, the federal contact who promised protection, suddenly goes ghost. Hours later, he appears on national television, distancing himself from Ali, claiming her allegations lack verification. He throws her under the bus. Live. Kelsey cries betrayal. Ali just opens an email he once forwarded without thinking. A message between high-ranking officials. If she testifies, we all go down. She screenshots it and posts it. Just one line. The system eats itself. Monroe becomes headline news within the hour. But with every attack, Ali learns something new. This isn't just systemic abuse. It's a fight for control of the narrative. If they can rewrite her, they can rewrite the truth. And then the real revelation arrives.
I'm gonna keep trying, but we tired. I'm not saying we're giving up. We're not suicidal. I'm just saying we're tired.
The network insider blows the whistle. A silent Friday. Then a new live stream blinks on. No title, no tags. Allie sits beside a pale, nervous woman. Diana Reese, former exec assistant at one of the biggest family-friendly media networks in the country, the kind that produces blockbuster kids shows, tween idols, and talent competitions. Tell them what you told me, Allie says, and Diana does. She reveals the network kept a secret list of minors with special waivers, loopholes that let the company bypass labor laws, move children off set, own their image forever, and even schedule late-night rehearsals. When Kelsey asks what happened off-site, Diana answers without flinching. That's where the abuse happened, where the parties happened, where cameras were turned off intentionally. She holds up internal memos, warnings she sent years ago, emails begging legal teams to intervene. Instead of protecting kids, they threatened her with jail. Then she drops the bomb. I recognized you the moment your videos went viral. You were in the 2015 archive, a folder marked reassigned pending. They were preparing to move you into the network pipeline under a new ID, the same process they used for Chloe J. Allie goes quiet. The chat explodes with disbelief and horror. Diana isn't done. She reveals there's a video confession from a top network executive, an on-camera admission of everything. The man still works there, powerful, untouchable. I encrypted it, Diana says, and if anything happens to me, it goes public. The internet loses its collective mind. Within 48 hours, senators are demanding hearings, networks scramble, lawyers panic, survivors rise. The narrative has officially left the control of the corporations. Diana goes into protective custody. Ali posts one message. This isn't just trauma. This is trafficking with a script. And suddenly the world finally understands the scale. The day America listened, July 14, 2025. Washington, D.C., the House Subcommittee on Child Welfare Oversight was packed. Wall to wall, reporters, protesters, and politicians filled every inch of the room. But all eyes were on one person, Allie Carter, survivor and whistleblower. She wore a black hoodie, no makeup, no glitz, no attempt to soften herself for the cameras. Just her real face, the one the system had tried for years to erase. Her name placard read, Allie Carter, survival and whistleblower. The chairwoman tapped the gavel. Ms. Carter, you may begin your statement. Allie pulled out a worn notebook, taped, crinkled, full of scrawled memories and hard-won truths. She didn't read from a script. She didn't falter. She spoke with the voice of someone who had been silenced far too long. My name is Allie Carter, but before I had that name, I had a number. Before I had a number, I had a scar. And before I had a scar, I had dreams. The room went silent. Even the senators leaned forward. She described her childhood in foster homes as a conveyor belt of neglect, shuffled like junk mail, medicated for disorders she didn't have, silenced when she finally screamed. Not because I lied, but because the truth I carry would ruin careers, she said. Allie held up a photo of herself with Chloe J. and another girl, both former Eden residents now missing from public view. We trusted systems that never loved us. We knocked on doors that only opened when they needed fresh talent for a youth campaign. We weren't just ignored, we were marketed. She recounted the constant threat. If she revealed the abuse, the tunnels, the parties, the fake therapy, she'd be sent away, locked in a psychiatric ward, or erased from the system entirely. Then came her declaration, steady and unwavering. But I ain't forget, I remember everything. A hush fell over the room. Every camera lens, every microphone, even the air felt heavy. Allie wasn't there to politely suggest reform. She was there to demand a reckoning. She laid down a folder. Names, places, contracts, proof of programs funded by officials that destroyed more lives than they helped. She addressed one older congressman directly when asked for final words. This USB stick This is the voice of every girl who isn't here today. Every foster kid lost in a case number. Every teen labeled out of control for surviving what y'all covered up. I don't need you to believe me. I need you to act. Because if not, we're gonna make it loud enough that the streets do it for us. The gavel fell, hearing adjourned, but Ali's work was far from finished. Outside the committee, flashbulbs popped like fireworks, but Ali didn't flinch. She wasn't chasing fame, she was chasing freedom for the silence. A little girl stood waiting with a homemade sign. Thank you for surviving. Ali bent down, hugged her, and whispered, now it's your turn to speak. The story didn't end here. Ali had lit the match. The fire was just beginning.